Welcome back. So last lesson I kind of proved that I send all the data to the backend, all the addresses, right? But the customer did not add the address, and that ended up in me not showing any addresses because they were not created in the database and they were not linked in the database. Now, if I have full control over the database, that's pretty easy for me to fix, and I'll do that in Series 5. But let's just have some more fun with Angular and say that that's closed down. I cannot change the backend. I have to use what I have available in the REST API right now. And I know that when we added addresses earlier inside Postman, what we had to do was actually send back a list of IDs for the created addresses. We could not have the customer create its own addresses. We had to have the addresses IDs ready and send those inside an array instead of a list of actual addresses, right? So we need to kind of change the way that we work with this, and we are going to do that in the next couple of lessons so that we can actually have Angular send multiple requests when we create a customer, first creating the addresses that are required, getting back the IDs for those requests or addresses, and then sending a new request for actually creating the customer as soon as we press save when we want to create a customer, right? So think of it this way, when I actually start creating this, when I do this, and this, there we go. When I press save now, it's not going to actually only create the customer. It's going to start out by first creating all the different addresses that I added here, get back the IDs for those addresses, and then when I create the customer, instead of sending the actual address, I'm going to only send over the ID of the address to the customer when I create him, right? So then the REST API will work again, and that means I do not have to change anything on the backend. I can just work with the backend as it is right now. And that might be a case where you don't have any control of the backend. So what do? Well, you have to manipulate this in Angular instead of the backend. I'm not saying that's a good solution because it ends up being way too many requests compared to what we could do if this was not the problem, right? So we are going to end up with more requests than we require if we fix the backend. But I'll do that in Series 5. For now, let's play with Angular. Yay! Jumping back to the code here, what I want to do this lesson is just, we don't have any service right now for creating addresses. We have a customer service, but we don't have an address service. So let's just create that address service this lesson, and then we'll populate it in the next. So I'm jumping into the source, into the app, and into the addresses, and into the shared folder. That's where I want my address service to reside, right in here. Just like we had the customer service right in here in the shared folder for customer. So in here we're going to do an ng generate service, and let's just write address because that's the name of my service. Do enter, and Gashumi, I have the new services right here available that we can now start using. And I'm going to be lazy next lesson. I'm going to copy paste some code and just do the same thing like we did with the customer service to actually start working with addresses. See you in the next lesson. Have fun.